So, are the 17 million followers and counting a true demographic representation of India or a number that looks like one? Are they truly all Indians, or are some of them foreigners living in India, logging in from Indian soil but carrying entirely different political stakes? Are some of them Indians living abroad, plugged into a VPN set to India, counted as domestic audience while a single domestic policy has not touched their lives in years? Are some of them bots inflating a number that a media cycle then picks up and quietly calls a movement, just like it is with the BJP or any other political party? When the media says 17 million, what are they actually measuring? Reach or intent? Visibility or conviction? When a platform shows you an India percentage, do you know what goes into that number, or are you trusting an algorithm that has never once been audited for political accuracy? Look, the pain is real. The frustration is real. The reason this party has come to exist at all, satirical or otherwise, it is real. Nobody, myself, I'm not arguing any of that. But if 17 million people are following this account, and the founding premise is that these are precisely the 17 million people whose careers have been destroyed, whose futures have been foreclosed, whose employment was taken from them, then the question is not about BJP's follower count. The question is what is being done for these 17 million people today? Because for me, a Boston education is not a small thing. It is access. It is a network that most of these 17 million people will likely never have in their lives to be in a room with. It is the kind of credential that opens doors in institutions, in foundations, in universities, in funding bodies that operate entirely outside the reach of Indian political machinery. If you are that confident about the number, and if that number represents real people with real skill deficits and real employment crisis, why is that education not being leveraged to build pipelines, scholarships, exchange programs, institutional partnerships, grant access, research fellowships, letters of recommendations that could change one life, then 10, then 100? Why is the ask a blog button and not a pathway? If he can connect with Kejriwal, if he carries the legacy of working alongside Sisodia, a man who built what many consider the most serious education reform attempt in recent Indian political memory, then where are the referrals? Where are the connections being activated on behalf of the people he says have been failed? It is easier to ask 17 million people to unfollow some political party than to make 10 calls that could change 10 lives permanently. And if the answer is that scale requires a different strategy, then what is that strategy? And where is it written down? Will reducing BJP's follower count by 17 million get a single one of these young people a job interview? I so want that to happen. Will it open a university application? I really want that to happen. Will it put food on a table by the end of the month? Oh, yes, desperately needed. And here is perhaps the most important question of all. If these 17 million people are truly ready to act, truly mobilized, truly furious and organized and done waiting, why are they on a screen? Where are they? Why is there no march at the center today? Why are the streets not full? Because throughout history, every movement that was real eventually had to leave the phone and occupy physical space. That is when governments notice. That is when the machinery has to respond. Online noise can be muted, accounts can be blocked, algorithms can be adjusted, but bodies in a street are a different grammar entirely. So, If 17 million people are genuinely ready, what is stopping them? And if they are not ready, then what exactly is being built here? Will this be just another Bharat Joro moment? Like powerful, moving, full of people, and then quietly absorbed back into the noise of the next news cycle? Will this become another chapter in a long story of joining and leaving and joining again and leaving again? A story that Indian politics has told so many times that we have stopped noticing we are inside it? Is there a team being built? Not a following, a team with actual domain expertise, legal strategy, policy literacy, ground infrastructure? If yes, where is it? How can I avail access their help? If not yet, then when? Is the founder thinking 5 moves ahead or is he responding 5 moves behind? Who is around him? And are they there because they believe in the destination or because the ride is currently interesting? Every party that has ever governed this country started with a room full of people who genuinely believed it would be different this time, right? And every single one, once it reached a position of national visibility, became something that could no longer be questioned from the outside. Is this going to be the first exception in the history of Indian electoral politics, or is it going to be the most entertaining version of the same story? Does a party that has spent years perfecting the machinery of electoral ground operations, ward by ward, booth by booth, lose sleep over an unfollow count? Really? Does a party that ran Hindu Muslim polarization through an entire election cycle and came out the other side look at a meme movement and recalibrate? If blocking those accounts cost them a single vote, a single seat, a single percentage point, would they have done it so casually? And here is something worth sitting with. Do you know what SIR is? Do you know what the opposition in Bengal did not? Right until the moment it mattered most? Because the gap between digital confidence and ground level preparation is exactly where elections are lost, right? So, are you following a movement or are you following a moment? And the people building the numbers, the ones creating the reels, doing the blocking, generating the reach, what are they getting in return today in their actual lives? Is your rage being organized or is it being collected? When the humor stops being funny, what will be left? And if the Chief Justice of India called you a cockroach, not if, he did, but does that make you a cockroach?